Check, check. Should be good. Hey, Ava Rose, what's up? Hopefully my mic works. It's been in and out, kind of. Yeah, I'm having a great day. How about you? Woodchucker, Caleb, welcome. Excuse me. Sorry, I burp sometimes. Bunch of chores to do. This is an everyday process, so taking this thing and breaking it against this rail here. It's been brain tan today. I put more brain material on it. This one already. So I'm just gonna take it against this thing here. But first, let me kind of get myself situated. Oh no, we freezing already? Uh-oh. Max, welcome. Looks like we're okay right now. It looked like it was giving out on me on my other phone. Welcome, Max. Yeah. Mike is making stuff is in the building. Everybody check out Mike and Caleb. Mike is making stuff channel. Check that out. Feel free to leave whenever and do that. And also check out Caleb's channel, Woodchucker, chainsaw carvings and such and so forth that they may do. And the contract that I'm giving you includes and all other things they may do in the course of their show. Going to do some brain tanning. Got this leather right here that I tanned with bark that I'm now trying to soften and break with brain tanning. So I've been working on this a little bit every day. But this hide here, partially tanned with bark. I have a technique I'm going to show y'all that I'm going to try. It's experimental. This was partially bark tan and partially brain tan and then smoked. So that one there was like that. This one, the edges, the belly areas still feel like rawhide. I worked this one vigorously today already. So it takes a tremendous amount of work. Avero says that normally that dark. Are we talking about the leather? It's been getting darker. It gets darker when you moisturize it and rehydrate it. It gets a little darker. So today I got to set up a fire and do some more smoking. I got to take this other pelt down. I got to do a whole bunch of stuff. But this hide is this dark when it's hydrated, right? And I've been hydrating it, and it's getting a little darker probably. Irina from Siberia. Privet. I think I got it. Privet. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We'll take this off for a second. This one, I've been breaking this against this beam a lot. It really is almost to the last stages, I think, that I would do with it. It's not really. I believe it will be turned into an apron for me, this piece here. So I got to break that other one against the beam too. Uh-oh, there's my slicker. That's another thing you do while you have it, while you're breaking it. Put it against the beam and slick it too. Manipulates those grains a little bit. There, I got some grain solution. I just warmed it up too. And when you add it, and when you break the grain and it gets like kind of restored or re-moisturized, you'll see it goes from light to a darker color. Yeah, I want this to be an apron. It's kind of protective. It's going to be kind of a hard texture. So I think this is going to be a good apron. And any kind of bark tan leather that's done well, I think makes good apron material. It's going to be firm enough to protect you, not just keep you clean, right? The flesh side likes to take the brain tannin or the brain fat liquor better than the grain side for sure. So this side is usually what I attack first. There we go. That's all the breaking I think I did a little bit of this earlier today with this guy. I'm gonna take that other hide. I can't keep my sleeve up. It's getting a little warmer out here today. Dad Fred said, looks like an apron for a medieval blacksmith. Yeah, I could see that because the embers would probably not. Like I know guys actually using these for like their bark tan leather aprons to protect themselves while they're flint napping. So if you can put this on yourself and protect it from those sherds from flint napping and it doesn't tear it up, then that's pretty tough. Pretty tough material. I think this is just like you can tan something quickly or relatively fast in several days if you like. It's very labor intensive. I think more than even I would want to handle, but you can do it. Sherds like that. I think sherds is like if it's broken off of something, it's a sherd, not a shard. Check me on that. All right, let me take this other piece over the breaking post, and then I got to do some actual like fleshing, some scraping at this other hide. Here's my muskrat. This is probably the once daily breaking I'm going to do with this hide too. I should say of this fur. It's not a hide, it's a fur. Max says he's from the seashore of the Black Sea. Nice. So like Crimea, if you're in Russia, right? Or if you're in Turkey, that's another. I think they also border the Black Sea too, right? Nah, who knows? Have to help me with my geography, Max. Yeah, no, sherds are a real thing. Sherds are a real thing. Took me, I think when I first learned that, I was like, do you mean shards? Is that what you mean? Shards? They were like, the pottery shards. Yep. It's an eye opener, just like when you learned a lot was 2 words, excuse me, right? Some people just learn that, don't lie. They should go ahead and make a lot 1 word though. People do that so much, and I won't say a lot. Right? That they ought to make it 1 word. Living the dream says he swam the Black Sea from side to side. Swam in the Dead Sea. Swam in the Dead Sea, different than the Black Sea. It's not too hard to swim in the Dead Sea, is it? You float. It's so saline that you float, right? I don't know if y'all know this, but buoyancy increases in the more saline water. So if you're in salty water, you float better. When I was swimming in the Caribbean Sea, I noticed how little effort it took me to swim. It was pretty incredible because the floating part is a lot of it is done for you in the super salty water. Dead is red one. Dead is not the red one. Red is different sea. Dead Sea and Red Sea both in the same kind of area, but different. I think the Dead Sea is landlocked, maybe. So uh, the Red Sea, though, is actually connected with the Indian Ocean, if I'm correct. And now that there's a canal there, it's also connected with the Mediterranean. The Suez Canal connects that with the Mediterranean, I believe. I did like almost win the geography bee in elementary school. Looks like the numbers are a little lower today. I might cut off early and go start fires. Maybe I back the camera up a little bit. It's just a little bit. Yeah, it's meh today. But thanks for the likes, everybody. I'm gonna back the camera up a little. I got some chores I gotta do anyway. Anyway, up in here. Let me back the camera up and tilt it up so everybody can see. Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. A little bit slower today. Educational, by the way. Always want people to know that we're processing animals, so viewer discretion is always advised. If you're something you're not into, you're 100% free to just keep scrolling, until you find the thing you are into. These shoulders and the legs and the belly real stiff on this, so I'm trying to soften those up. Darth Shrimpus. What animal was this? It was a white-tailed deer. was a white-tailed deer. Darth Shrimpus, bonjour. Bonjour to you as well. Welcome. Bienvenue. All right, I gotta take some of these hides. Well, this one probably needs to be broken, but I gotta put some. This is a huge hide, guys. This one, I did already brain tan this and smoke it, but it's real stiff all the way across. So something I want to do. I don't love the angle either, guys. I'm kind of not in love with this camera angle. Hold on one second. Maybe it's how I have my board or something like that. I get why people aren't into it. Yeah, this was a doe. These are roadkill. Only one animal I actually took myself, and that was because had two broken legs on the side of the road. It was in terrible condition, and I was on my run in the morning. So really what started this whole thing was that this one was a doe, and she was pregnant when she was hit by the car. So she has a really nice thick pelt, and she's huge. Like, look at how big the neckline is. She's like over 200-pound deer, female, biggest doe I've ever seen, I think. Yeah, it is pretty well preserved. Playing with the view count. Mm-hmm. This is for educational purposes, guys. We don't do this to gross people out or anything like that. Looks like we yeah. I told Miss Heather I probably would like spare everybody if the numbers were low today. And they are pretty low. All right, so you guys saw the pelt, right? Now I'm gonna take some brain tanning and kind of put it on here. It's real dry. This one probably needs really honestly, I think this one needs to be scraped. There's some flesh on the flesh side I think needs to come off. But I got to moisturize it again. Here's another idea I had. Just throw this out there to make this unique. These right here are acorn, crushed up acorns that I had used to make a tannin solution. I'm thinking of maybe putting these in this hide and letting them sit in this hide overnight just to see how that works. The Eskimos do it like this. When they preserve seal hides, they take all their bark and they roll it up in the hide and they kind of tuck it under something. So what I'm thinking, it's some brain tannins. This is not milk. It's egg, brain material, and olive oil, basically. Good question, though. Yeah, should say it's brains on it. The way to really rehydrate these is to take towels and lay them on there. And I did it with the other one today. This just shows it's just a lot of work, man. Every hide is like its own full-time job. And every fur too. Fur is probably even harder because you can't break it in the same way. I can't approach it with the same aggression that I approach a piece of leather with. I can be super aggressive with a piece of leather and let the tannin sort the rest of it out, kind of, But with the furs, the fur wants to slip all the time, and the more rough you are, the more shedding you have too. So you have shedding also that's natural. Fur does not last forever. Forever. You like that? It's a strawberry shake. I like that. It did kind of look like that originally. Kind of lost that strawberry shake look. So the fur wants to slip. The hair also wants to shed if it's dealt with aggressively. I need to get this hide off of that salt. Salt will ruin these things. So what I'm trying to do on the quick fast here is kind of rehydrate this. But what I would like to do is actually lay some towels on it or put some of those acorns because it's kind of got a rawhide-ish feel to this side. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe it has to do with how I smoked it, you know. And I don't want to smoke it much more. I don't think that's gonna help. So maybe rolling it up with some tannins in there, just working it. Thank you, folks. Make sure that you do like this video. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop, and this is a white-tailed deer hide that I'm trying to rehydrate. It's actually a white-tailed deer pelt, full fur and everything. It's a female. Trying to rehydrate it with this brain solution. It's a fat liqueur. I believe that is one word also. So if you want to check that one on me. Oops, didn't even splash there. It's only brains, you know. I actually do this barehanded most of the time because I want to get the feel for what it's supposed to feel like. This is kind of new to me. I did watch someone else's kind of self-introductory tanning video, but they talked more about how they used bark tanning, and then the lady made her husband a quiver. So I think talking about both tanning methods together, or trying to use both the old world tradition of bark tanning and the new world, by new world I mean Western Hemisphere, United States, North America, South America, the new world technique of brain tanning or smoking hides. That's what I think a different niche would be here, that hasn't, or a different value would be provided that I haven't found online here. People ask the question, how do I keep the hair all the time? And I want to be able to address that question as far as I can learn, you know, by experience. So what I'm trying to do desperately is keep the hair. You can see that. And then I can say, well, this is what worked for me. There's always kits that you can buy from taxidermists, but those probably have some pretty harsh chemicals, stuff you don't really want to put up against your skin, really, you know? I don't know for sure, but I would guess they probably do. Dad's Workshop. Welcome. I'm Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. Right now, I've got this very large white-tailed doe hide. And as I said, I did not kill this animal. It was roadkill. Right by my house again, on my run, just like the first one. This is an area, you know, where there are quite a few deer, and they feed them here. So then they get hit by cars, of course, just like they do everywhere. But I'm here to pick them up. And this one was pregnant, so it was even nastier. Obviously, you can use your imagination. I kind of got to her about the morning after she got hit. I knew the relative timeline of when she got struck by the car. Like I say, biggest doe I've ever seen. Well over 200 pounds she was when I picked her up. Literally, it was a difficult thing. You gotta be strong, man. You gotta be strong. This. Nah, I look like I probably looked so. Well, bad Fred, I got you. But I think the problem with putting it in that brain solution, man, and dipping it down, and that is a technique, but I've never seen that done with furs, because the fur gets wet, and then you pull it out of there. If there's any blood in that brain material at all, that blood is going to lead to that bacteria that causes the hair to slip. So the reason I don't do it, man, I don't dip them in the brain solution, is because it's going to get it too wet. You're not going to be able to dry it back out. And wet, if it gets warm at all, I mean for a day, that bacteria that causes the hair to slip will get in there. And I don't want that to happen. So right now I'm still treating it like a baby. You know, I'm like babying it all the time, trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah. Yeah, so my belief is if I put this in a fat liquor tub, I would lose the hair. I'm 90% sure I would lose the hair if I did that. I don't know anyone who does that with furs. You can do it with leather. You can soak in a fat liquor with leather, but I don't think you can do it with this. And right now I'm actually trying to break this hide. So on that side, I want to be doing I want it to soften up enough where I can work it on that side. And then rehydrating it is fine. And you do want to be gentle the way you do it. Unless you're doing leather. If you're doing leather, different technique. Like if you're doing any kind of leather tanning, you can put it into a buck solution. You can put it into what do they call it? What do they call that when you're baiting solution? That's an enzymic solution that'll cause the hide to swell up, and all the rest of the hairs will definitely come out then. They didn't come out when you bucked it with the lime or the lye, then they'll come out when you put it in the baiting solution, which is what most people want. Most of the time, hides are not done hair on. It's kind of a niche thing. I'm going to do it to see how do we keep the hair. And I think it's mostly acid. It's acid and salt, I think, are what does it. Obviously smoke, but my experience with smoke is it makes the hide really hard also, just like so far, that's what I'm experiencing. I could be doing it wrong. Shannon, welcome. I did that yesterday. Soaked claws in the brain liquid and laid them on there. Excellent, Bad Fred. Now you're thinking like me. Lay some cloths in the brain solution. I've done it with tannins too. So soak a towel in tannic solution or tannic liquor and put it on the bottom of a hide. I think you're better off doing that at any given time than doing it with water, because then you're doing part of you're adding something to the process, right? Once this hide dries out and you've got it a little tacky, it's going to absorb fluid. So if you put tannin on there, or if you put more fat liquor on there, it should absorb better, because now it's in that it's getting porous again. It's opening up. It's like opening the pores again. Once it's the fats are in there. And this is already getting a little looser for me now. But I am, y'all see, forcefully breaking it against that perpendicular to the direction of the hair on the back right now to try to get it to soften up for me. Still has a very smoky smell too. And my brain tannin solution, I've added some like rosemary oil in there too. So it kind of mitigates some of the bad smell. I don't care for that. I don't want my hide to smell like smoked meat, really. Every day you got to do this some, you know, if you want the hide to be soft, you have to do this every day, allegedly. Or you got to use chemicals, you know. There's those two options, you know. To some extent, there's going to be like some hair shedding, like I said, but that's better. Better. All right, let's get to the hides that we got to do the tough stuff on. Now I'm going to put this brain tan stuff on top of that other wet hide there where that sits and can kind of pick up stuff. Hey, Calvin. How's it going? Kevin, 2291. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope your day is going great. Well, we hope your day is going great as well. Kevin, thanks for being here. Hey, do make sure that y'all tap that screen, like this button, like this live stream. This is the acorn stuff. I'll show y'all kind of what it looks like in a plastic bag. You see how it's turned yellow? That's because of the tannins that are still in the acorn mush that I made. This is where I get my tannins from. You can see how kind of the color of them. Well, some of the place I get my tannins from is these blackjack oak acorns. Another source I get is from pecan shells. And then I do use mimosa bark, mimosa pods. So there's some of that in there as well. But all been through the, like, poured hot water through it a few times now. So we're gonna use those too as time goes on. This one's already been. This is the muskrat fur. That one is almost ready to be. I think almost all three of these. Well, the leather and then one of those hides I think is ready, but I'm not gonna rush it. Bad Fred said I put some acorns and leaves to my aquarium because freshwater fish like it. Interesting. Eva Rose said, y'all show this man some love. 2 taps on the mobile if you have a YouTube account. Thank you, Ava Rose. Appreciate that. Yeah. So interesting. I use as my rag some buckskin my cousin made. This is like 20 years ago that I got this. So, and it's held up pretty good. Pretty sure he used brain sanding to make this. It's nice and supple. Or he might have bought a kit. My cousin's the type of guy might get a kit. No, shout out if you're out there, Zach. All right, this is a huge buck hide, like huge compared to what I've done in leather so far. I'm going to scrape at this a bit. It's got a lot of scar tissue on it. This is kind of, I've got a couple of final jobs. This is the flesh side of this. This has been in tannins for a few days now. I'm going to scrape at this with my scraper right here that I've been working with, my bone scraper. I know it's not the same thing as a fleshing beam. I have something ready for that, but for YouTube, it's not great. Fleshing beams don't work, so you got to use something smaller. So I'm just going to adjust what's at the top of my beam. That's all I'm going to do, right? I'm going to start with the flesh side of this too, and I'm going to put some force into it. If I don't feel like I can do it with this bone tool, I will definitely use a metal tool. And then doing this and pushing all the water out of this and scraping this off is going to create a situation where it's a sponge and soaks up more tannin, right? When I put it back in the tannin water. So it takes longer to tan leather if you're not paying a lot of attention to it. If you're leaving it in the tannin bath and just agitating the tannin bath, it could take a long time, you know, a year or something. But if you are pulling it out of the tannins, refreshing the tannin bath frequently with new tannic liquor, then taking your hide out and squeezing it out, scraping it, fleshing it, what they would call scudding it, which is scraping it while it's in the process of going through its baths. You know, if you're doing that, then you should be able to produce a piece of leather like from deer skin in a month or two or less, maybe. I understand you could do a goat skin in 5 or 6 days if you are in a pinch and you're working it all day. Like you can do it with a 8-hour days work for 6 days. So hopefully people are getting value out of this. This right here is a buck hide. It was about a 10-point buck. It has a lot of scar tissue on it, so I don't know if it was injuries that it took. It also has lumps in the neck that are suspicious. Maybe it took a buckshot or a bird shot in its neck. It has these lumps that I haven't seen in a deer before. Pretty interesting. So those hairs are on the inside, which means I must have kept it in the vinegar so long that the hair started growing backwards through the hide. I've heard about that. The pores open up so far that the hairs go backwards into the flesh side of the hide. These are not, these are actually like holding in there. So, hey. Good. I missed a question or two. First off, we had a Jordy Howitzer. Jordy Howitzer. He said, subscriber here. Welcome. Michigan deer hunter and squirrel Oh, so great. Absolutely. You need like 4 to 6 of them though. Yeah. Depending on your jacket, you can do one of those anorak parkas with probably 3 to 4, depending on your size. But if you want a full size like Arctic parka with a hood, probably more like 6 to 7 full hides. Yeah. And like I said, not an expert on this, but the other question as to the squirrel and taxidermy, I can't answer. I'm not a taxidermist, but I can tell you this: you want to keep every bit of tissue you can. You want to take a tiny X-Acto and go around the squirrel's eyes and the nose. Check out, look at an image of a squirrel's actual anatomy. See how much cartilage there is in the nose and mouth area, because that kind of tells you where you need to cut in the nose and mouth. That cartilage can be tricky and mess you up. Otherwise, just take that squirrel hide and turn it into leather. I hear it makes really good leather. I'll show you one of those in a minute. I have one here with me right now, a little bitty squirrel hide.
Kevin said, I'm actually here cleaning up bucks to put in the freezer. My buddy gave me while listening.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah. So yeah, the bucks. I now that I've done this a few times, this is a buck's hide right here, a larger buck too, with a pretty sizable rack. So an older 4 or 5 year old buck, maybe even older than that. He had marks all over him, scar tissue all over the on the grain side, which is the hair side. I can see why people might take bucks and keep the hair on and make it fur, because the leather quality, if it's a buck, may be poor due to the fact that they are taking combat shots all the time.
Jordan said, I'm going to start collecting hides. You're a very knowledgeable man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is just something I'm doing for fun that I kind of picked up recently. I do have my hunting license and do go hunting occasionally, but I admittedly have not in a very long time. So trying to get under that skin there. See if you can get down to the bottom of the chat.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. It's just super small.
I'm trying to pull anything I can get off of this off. It looked like it was going to give me a piece to pull on, which I don't mind doing. I'll pull sometimes to get that stuff off. But yeah, I'll show you. I got a squirrel pelt here too. Otherwise, just take the squirrel's pelt and do the pelt. They are tiny, so if you're an older guy, you might need your readers on to do that taxidermy, because it's like you're going to need to do very detailed surgical work around the face if you're going to preserve the whole squirrel. It's good practice though, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that is correct. Most of this is roadkill. I can't say all of it. There's one deer that I took, but that was for humane reasons, actually, not because I wanted to take it. Kind of is what started me on this whole thing. So that's going to be my approach to the video. Is have you ever like pulled up on a beautiful deer on the side of the road and said, what a shame that deer is just laying there going to waste? Most people have, especially the intrepid of us, those of us with the intrepid spirit that makes us want to try crazy things. I'll put myself in that category for sure. Like trying stuff. And over time in the tanning bath and all of that, this stuff is all going to come off. I'm going to take it out of there and scrape, take it out of there and scrape, and it's all going to come off. Looks like it's wanting to come off right now somewhat. You want to do this without damaging the grain if possible, damaging the flesh side also. So, but you can't be shy. But if it's going through multiple processes, some of that it kind of clears up the error that happens often, which is that people don't scrape enough flesh off. As it goes through multiple processes, here and there, over and over and over again, you're gonna get the flesh off. You got to keep working at it. Definitely an experienced, flesher, or butcher or whomever, leather maker, tanner, is gonna know exactly how much pressure to put on a fleshing knife, which I don't have actually a real fleshing knife at this point. I'm trying to decide how I'm going to get one. If I'm going to make one, or if I'm going to have one of these guys I know online that makes knives make me one. That would be my ideal way. I would like to have a crafts person on here who makes knives make me a fleshing knife that I can use. Also, the other option is I can take a rib bone from an animal, maybe the next one I get, and use the rib bone, file down the rib bone so it's basically a fleshing knife. I kind of have a feeling for bone tools now a little bit. Been using one here for a minute. I just want to give this kind of a rudimentary scraping here. It's going to go back into tannins again for a long time. I'm not rushing this hide at all. Interesting though, hunters probably come here a lot. Shout out to all the hunters out there. But hunters don't often take the pelt. It's fairly rare for hunters, at least in the South, to even consider taking the pelt. They just throw that out. They put it in the gut pile. Oh, is that today? Oh. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, Gordy Bowitzer. Bowitzer. Or Bowitzer. It is kind of that's a little more on the tricky side. They're probably not really going to respond to, like, water is not a good thing to put on those, because the type of chemicals that taxidermists use to preserve stuff, I don't think it can get wet. Like, I'm pretty sure it can't get wet. You got to double check me on that. They have very specific ways of preserving that stuff, but the form on the inside is most likely plastic if you had them taxidermied by a professional. So it's the fur you got to clean. I would say take a toothbrush with some really mild soap and water and brush it with a really soft toothbrush. Soft toothbrush, shake it out before you brush it with it. Soap and water on the toothbrush. That would be my suggestion. Yeah. Damp toothbrush with a mild soap and water mixture on it. That would be my safe approach, and then you don't damage anything on the fur. It's not going to go down to the leather part. You're not going to have to deal with that. This one was originally, I was trying to keep the hair on it, and I failed. So, because I left it in the brine too long. So this one is one that I actually would have scraped it much harder before I put it into the leather process. But I didn't really expect to be making leather out of this one, but it's probably better that way. That's the more sustainable of the hobbies. The fur one is really hard, I think, to keep going on the long run. They shed, you gotta, I think when you do fur, you have to have a specific design in mind for your fur. Like, is it going to be a hood, muffler, gloves, glove liner? I think that's what I'm gonna do with my fur. And Heather's gonna, make me stuff with it. And then once that's over, I'm gonna start just doing leather, most likely, and collecting the leather, and then probably eventually either use that for stuff or auction it off. That'll probably be what happens with it, especially when it becomes not as doable. There's seasons in life, man. I'm strong right now, I can handle this kind of work, but I am 43, and it is very labor intensive. So maybe teaching it to someone else would be the best way to handle. Best way to do. I don't know. Not super into the idea of teaching again. I'm not gonna worry about being thorough on this. I'm just gonna scrape the mess out of it until I'm kind of done for the day. Put it back in the tanning bath and do the same thing again tomorrow or in a couple days. Probably be okay. I've been adding tan into it all the time, so it's definitely a strong tanning bath in there. Yeah, it's not really guilty. It's just kind of how folks taught us. They said, this is what you do to gut the deer. This is how you take the meat. This is how you take the skull if you want the rack. And you do this with the guts and the skin. You throw them into a gut pile. Like, that's just what they do. That's actually part of the field dressing kind of procedure. Now, actually, if you're carrying the meat around, it might be to your benefit to actually skin it out there and use the skin as a bag to carry your meat around. But, generally you're in a rush out there. And it's warm sometimes, and you have that you're fighting with as well, spoilage. Right. So when you send them to the processor, the hides probably get turned into rawhide, which gets sent out for various things, dog toys, whatever they use, glue. I don't think there's much hide glue made anymore, but rawhide has multiple uses, gelatin for the bones and all of that stuff. So there's uses for everything pretty much. Oh, Luke from the misty, from across the sea, he comes. I'm going to take a water break in just a second here, and then I'll be right back to doing all of this fun stuff again. If this was on a real fleshing beam with a real fleshing knife, you'd probably be able to take this all off with one series of strokes. Generally, you put all your body weight into it, like this right here is pretty untouched. And I know I'll put black marks in my hide if I do this. Actually, I'm thinking that those little spots in the neck may actually be BBs because they're making black spots. And so that makes sense that there would be a ferrous metal in there, right? Shout out to everybody who's here. This is a deer hide that I'm scraping right now. This is the flesh side of a buck hide. So yeah, a lot of even experienced hunters, there are many of them that have no experience processing hides at all. They would have to watch me. I would be more experienced at that than they would be, right? More experienced hunting than me, but less experienced dealing with a hide. This is a draw knife. This is not a fleshing knife. I just feel like I can get up under some of this here. I need this leather more for structure. So what I want this for is like structure on the inside of stuff, boots potentially, or boots will be fine. If it starts to turn black, I can ebonize the whole thing by just exposing it to metal, make the whole thing black and turn it into boots. The leather, bark leather is really good for structural things like boots. So, still a lot of material there. I think it's going to be coming off. Pull it towards me a little here. That's what I'm used to doing as a woodworker, right? Though this is fleshing is done, pushing forward and not drawing towards you. I'm trying to make sure I do some of these lives here because I'm gonna be missing for a few days coming up here. Be with the fam and the kids for Christmas and stuff. By the way, happy Hanukkah if you're Jewish, and it's the third day of Hanukkah if I'm keeping count correctly. Don't know what that day is. I know each day has significance, but either way, happy Hanukkah to everybody. Happy third day, and happy holidays to everybody, whatever your holiday may be. If you celebrate holidays, and happy day to you if you don't celebrate holidays. Oh, thank you, Luke. Appreciate it. All of the Irish stuff is in good fun. In good fun. Like many Americans, there's some genetics there, so I would be kind of hypocritical for me to make fun of Irish people. There we go. That's up under that, right? That's up under what I want to get into. That's the way it should look. That is kind of the way it should look. Now, most people would have this at a 45-degree angle down, but that's not ideal for a live stream. So we're going to try to flesh upward. Now that I kind of got up under there, and maybe if I can scoot it back here, I can get it off the edge. It wants to pull the hide. And you just adjust the part of the hide that's on the end of the post is what you like. Pretend this is an actual fleshing post, fleshing beam. I'm going to turn this sideways here because it's pushing. If it gives me something I can pull on, I pull on it, guys. That's what I do. You just want to get all the schmutz off that you can. Everything that you can get off, get off. Also, putting this into a baiting solution an enzymic solution, or back into what they call bucking, which is a alkali solution, would probably help this flesh loosen up from the hide. I can see there's several black spots on here, so it's either my draw knife that's doing it, which could very easily be, because that is ferrous metal. It's not stainless at all. Or there are BBs in this deer from being shot previous to when it was killed, which is what I think it is. There goes my buck knife. Probably blade down too. Of course, they say the toast always falls on the jelly side, so hopefully that's what it is. I'm scrape this just a tad more, and then I'm gonna pull out that squirrel hide. I'm gonna scrape that a little bit. This one's got to go back into its tannic bath again, and I just want to scrape at this flesh side again. Just go after this stuff, get it down to collagen, right? There's like a certain way. Mike Osborne, welcome, welcome. It's 3 degrees up there. My God, Mike Osborne from North Dakota, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out, big friend of the program, Mike. Yeah, I need that fleshing knife, but I need you to get better first. Don't make me anything that you can't do. I want a fleshing knife from a guy who knows what he's doing. This is really scudding, not fleshing, right? This thing's already been like preliminarily fleshed and put through processes. All right, I'm going to be done with that one for now. Put that aside, back in its bag, whatever. Wring it out. I'm going to wring it out again. I'm going to do it this way, though. I'm going to show y'all how to wring these things out my way. Thanks for the 69 likes, y'all. At least that's what I see on my end here. Hold on. Did I do this the wrong way? Do make sure that you double tap the screen, like this video, and subscribe to the channel. 3 things you can do for me right now that don't involve any money are like, subscribe, and share something with a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wring this hide out real quick so it can absorb max tannins, and then when I get it next time, I'll be able to scrape even more. Hopefully I have my scraping beam ready. Yeah, see the fleshing knives they sell for $40 on Amazon, and like, okay, so it's a piece of shit with plastic handles. You know, that's like, I'm supposed to buy that and learn that it's okay, but you could probably get one better yourself or make one. That's what I'll skip. I'll skip that first part where I buy it into the next part where I don't have one with plastic handles, because I just am against that. I would think a lot of people who make leather would be the type of people who wouldn't like plastic handles. You know what I mean? Like the same people that enjoy making craft leather probably are the same people that don't care for using tools that have plastic handles. Now we will. I've got plastic handle tools, but just seems to me, if I was marketing, I would say, well, maybe we should throw some wood on those handles. We'll use the cheapest wood possible, poplar or something. You know? Don't want to use like a pine handle, right? Because nobody will buy it. Oh, I just got salt on my eye. Don't want that. All right, so we got these two right here that I want to show you. Gordy roll out. All right, this is a raccoon with a squirrel inside of it. There we go. That's a squirrel. This is a raccoon. This is the squirrel hide. Now I noticed that there were some little bitty hairs. Now this thing lost its hair. The hair slipped on me, and it happened kind of in the middle of it. Little skin tag. So funny. Tiny, teeny, tiny. Right? So here's the squirrel hide. Bark tan for like, I don't know, man. This has probably been in the bark tannins for a couple weeks now. So that's what it looks like. Now I scrape the bottom side of it. The flesh side here. Give it a scrape. I have heard that squirrels that have make great leather. Like they're a great material. So we'll find out. We'll make a pocket out of it and see if it's the best pocket that I ever owned. You are the best pocket ever. Thank you, pocket. Thank you, Squirrel, for creating a pocket for me of the highest possible quality. Wasn't able to save this animal's tail either. Sorry, folks. I was able to save the tail on most of my raccoons, recent raccoons, but not on this squirrel. It must be it's real thin and supple because as I'm scraping past this flesh layer here, the dermis right there is like real thin. As soon as I like get some tannin all over this thing, because every time I scrape it, I expose more skin. So what I want to do is get it to where I feel like it's tanned all the way through, and then I'll start doing a brain tanning process to make it soft again if I have to, and I think I probably will have to because it's gone through almost the whole bark tanning process already. You gotta basically be scraping at these things throughout the whole tanning process. So this has been in there for a couple weeks, but it looks like I'm getting under some skin here that I did not, or under some tissue that I didn't see before. So that's gonna have to come off. It's gonna have to go in for longer. There we go. See, now it's coming off. That we got to do. That could have been the source of the bacteria that caused the hair to slip too. Just that layer of flesh. Well, we're getting somewhere today with this hide because I wasn't under that skin last time. Definitely. Now I am. There we go. Yep. Absolutely. That could have been 100%. That could have been the source of the bacteria that caused the hair to slip, because it had that dermis on, that meat above the dermis that I didn't notice. Trying to get a hold of this here. Kind of the last strip that's in this area. All of that and more. All of that and more, folks. That's all the skin pulling I'm going to do on this thing right now. I scraped the flesh side too. I'm a determined dude, but there are limits here. I'm going to let the tanning process do some of that other flesh removal. All right, so that's the little squirrel skin. You see I got a lot of flesh off that side. We'll probably take it and put it back in the tanning process again. And then the raccoon hide's a little different. I don't think we have that problem here. This thing's been in the tanning even longer. I had to put this through a baiting process and I put this into lye solution, not a lime solution, by the way, a lye solution to remove the hair. So there are some stubborn hairs still, but in general, this pelt's like almost ready. I almost wanted to brain tan this first because this pelt is like, I believe it's very close. I'm going to scrape the leather side or the grain side too today. Try to get some of the imperfections out of there. So we're talking about keeping the hair. This is a roadkill animal right here. I didn't kill this animal. When I got it, literally, I grabbed it by the tail, right, to throw it in the back of the truck. And the tail slipped out of my hand. All of the hair came off the end of the tail. So you kind of have an idea where that went from there, you know. Got to have a stomach. That's a definite. It's not for everybody. So the hair being kept was not a factor or an option. Throughout my cleaning and gutting it, hair was coming off like crazy. All right, let's flip it to the grain side. Grain side is what you all would think of as leather, right? That's the grain side. I think that if done properly, that raccoon looks like it makes very fine leather, man. All right, so let's scrape at this with the bone tool because I'm not going to use the metal tool on this. All right, so the heck, oh no, almost dropped it. Got salty floor. That would have been really bad for this hide. All right. So the hair direction, I had it a second ago. I want it this way because I want to go with the hair direction as I try to scrape this this hair off, the last of this hair that's still kind of sticking in the hide. I want to go with the hair direction. I kind of given up on some of these little spots. I'm surprised that the lye didn't knock that right out, but maybe it needed a longer lye bath, you know? Probably that's what it was. Hey. Oh, sorry. Pelado. Nah, Pilato said, I want to go with the hair direction too. I just have difficulty finding the hair in any direction. Who else we got in there that I missed? Thank you, Abe. Appreciate you. Yeah. Who's in there? June. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah. Pelado.
David had a question about that tail.
The raccoon tail that slipped.
No, that's a little earlier. How do you even flip the tail inside out to clean it without damaging it?
Oh, you don't. You slice it. You gotta what I do is stick a stick up the tail and remove the spine, right? So I put a stick up into the tail, then work the spine out, take a knife at same way you skin an animal, the skin pulls, right? And you slice around that area and remove the spine from the tail. Right. You're gonna push it until you see the skin stretch under it and cut that little area behind the spine. Pull the spine out of the tail and splay the spine. Splay the tail. Flay it, excuse me. Cut it straight through the tail, and then the tail's outward like that, right? The hard part is keeping the end of the tail. The end of the tail is always attached to that last spine or whatever that's on every animal. Every single animal. The mid range of the tail you can keep if you're careful. First thing you do is stick a stick in there behind where the spine is, loosen it up with the stick, and then push the spine out, slice around it, then flay the tail. That's how I've done it. Yeah, no problem. TYSM. You know that one, Pilato? You seen that one before? TYSM? Today's Thursday, right? So everybody's still like, it's still, Thursday's my favorite day of the week. Thursday is my favorite day of the week. Said this before because you have the whole weekend to look forward to. You have all of that. Half of the joy of life is anticipation. It's like people anticipate Christmas. I love this time, kind of as Christmas is getting closer. You're in this stage, 10 days before Christmas. Once the holiday comes, man, and all of that, and everyone burns out. And then you have to actually see the reality of hanging out with your family. Like it's not no offense, family. They're not watching. Don't worry. They're not watching. The reality of hanging out with them maybe better in your head than it is in real life. Maybe, possibly. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to just pull hairs out of here. I just don't like the hair in there. It upsets me to have this perfect leather, but these little hairs in here. Yeah, so sometimes the idea you have this. I love Christmas. I've had some kind of crappy stuff happen around Christmas too, and so Christmases have been mixed for me for some years, and I still love it. I don't let that spoil it. It just can't. It can't for me. I don't think. Try not to let it. So the hair slips until it doesn't, right? Like it's like every hair but these want to slip. All right, I think I am gonna go back into the tannins with this pelt though. It is like really nice now. This may be a suede side pelt because as I look at it, man, the flesh side is really consistent and nice. So maybe this is a pelt that I use for like the inside of my shoes or boots because it looks real nice. The flesh side as opposed to the grain side has some imperfections on it. It's nice too. It's gonna be stiff though. I gotta remember that. Unless I brain tan it, and then in which case I've been trying to get to that, but you know. All right, so this is that hide right here, the raccoon pelt in leather form, right? See it in leather form. It's 100% tanned by, you know, plant-based tannins is all I used in it. So acorns and pecans, and some mimosa bark, some mimosa pods that are dried up that I just pick up. Everything is hand picked up. Like I picked it up by hand, literally ground it up and turned it into a tannin. So I'm making my own leather, crafting my own leather tannin. It's all from scratch. Everything's from scratch. I got on Amazon for the first time in months today. For the first time in months, I got on Amazon and ordered some stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't want to order that. I want to craft it myself so bad. But you can't do that with everything, right? Hey, y'all, don't double tap that screen, like this video. My name's Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. Appreciate everybody. Pilato's in the house. Everybody check Pilato's channel out. He does a lot of like DIY woodwork and stuff that can help you with your woodcraft. That I know many of you are probably also into woodcraft. I know Ava Rose is. Ava Rose, as soon as she gets off today, she's going to go make a crosscut sled. That's going to be like the first thing that she does. And she may say no right now, but actually no. It's going to be the first thing that she does when she leaves here. She's going to go watch Pilato's video on how to make a bandsaw fence, and she's going to make a bandsaw fence, right? So, yeah, that's what Ava Rose is going to do when she gets off of here. She told me already. She said, "I'm going to go I'm going to go watch Pilato and and make a bandsaw fence." And so I said, Ava, why would you do that? She said, because that's just like what I like to do. See, that's how I recall the conversation. And that may have happened if Ava and I had ever had a conversation in person, and we haven't. So there you go. Anyway, check out Pilato. All of that was to say, check out Pilato. Little drawl knife in the front of the foreground there. Yeah, and because we're awesome, we're going to just flip stuff out here and just do another show and tell real quick. This is my muskrat fur. This is my big doe pelt, I believe. Ooh, it's softer, guys. It did soften up a little bit. Boom, soft doe pelt. And then this is the piece of leather I made from a doe earlier. Boom, see that? This is just stuff. I just, just kind of hanging out, just doing stuff, Just kind of hanging out, doing stuff. That's leather. And then we got one other pelt in here. Boom, this one's getting a little softer too. Working it every day, breaking it on the beam. And then another hide right there. So we got a lot of hides. Ain't nowhere for you to hide from Dad's Workshop. That's how we do things. You cannot hide. You cannot hide. It's for you. Definitely. There's something for everybody here. Maybe not. Something for most people. I do have a few skins in the game, but I would say that you should check out the channel and make sure that you check out the videos. We can go through my videos. Maybe you can go through my videos with a fine-tooth comb, but I'm just splitting hairs here. I know. I'm just splitting hairs, and I don't want to do that. But, I definitely will. Every last one of you, I will tan your hide if you don't come back. If you don't come back. If you don't come back. I'm going to tan your hide. Yep. That's my mode that's activated. I'm about to go set some fires like a man. I'm going to go do some, quote, manly stuff. Someone said that the other day on my channel. I was like, oh, that's funny. That's what I do all the time. That's what I do. All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Ava. Thank you, Miss Heather. Thank you, Miss Heather, first for being my right hand in handling all of this stuff. Shout out to Gordy and everybody else. Pilato, I guess, you know. Check out Pilato's Town. Check out Mike is Making Stuff and everybody else who popped in here today. I don't know if Wes was in here. Wes does it. Also, want to thank Carrie for making a donation the other day that supported the channel in a way that allows us to bring you content. The donation that Carrie made the other day, appreciate that. Want to say thank you again for that. We are doing all kinds of work here. We are not playing around. This is like serious. When we do something, we ADH do it, guys. You know, to the nth degree here. We're not playing around here. It's serious business, doing whatever we want. So thank you for coming. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. I will see you all later. Do something with the stuff you find. Hang out, you know, make some stuff and all of that good stuff. Take care. Love y'all. I will be back tomorrow, but that will be my last stream for a few days. Thanks, Kevin. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.